In the U.S., about 90% of our time is spent indoors. Yet most of us aren't aware of how being indoors can affect our health and learning, and how that can impact our economy and society. Particularly important is the quality of the indoor air that we breathe. While there are many threats to our indoor air quality, there are plenty of strategies and solutions that we can use to help improve our indoor air. In the videos that follow, you will learn about the basics of indoor air quality, along with some practical approaches to help ensure that the air inside our buildings, where we spend most of our time, can promote rather than challenge our health and well-being. Indoor air quality, or IAQ, tells us whether the air we breathe inside a building is healthy and safe. Many things can affect the quality of indoor air, such as airborne chemicals, particles, and viruses. Good IAQ means that the amounts of these pollutants in the air are low. Poor IAQ means the amounts are high enough to cause health problems. These can range from mild issues like scratchy throats and headaches to more serious problems like asthma, lung disease, and even death. Whether a pollutant in the air has a short or long-term impact depends on what it is and how much of it is in the air. The most serious health problems related to poor IAQ are often caused by germs in the air we breathe, such as the virus that causes COVID-19. Indoor air pollutants come from all around us. Many common building materials release chemical pollutants into the air over time. This is called off-gassing. Cleaning supplies, paints, and other scented products also release chemical pollutants into the air. In some cases, this is intentional, like with air fresheners, perfumes, and essential oils. But all scented products can make some people feel ill and can trigger asthma. Gas stoves and other indoor combustion sources release gas pollutants like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen oxides. Activity in the building can also release small particles into the air. When inhaled, these particles can get deep into our lungs and contribute to cardiovascular disease. This is particularly the case for particles with diameters smaller than 2.5 micrometers, which is smaller than a human hair. Cooking can be a major source of these small particles indoors. Other sources include candle or incense burning, and any movement activities like walking or vacuuming that kick particles off the floor and into the air. People can also be important sources of indoor pollutants, like airborne viruses and bacteria. Whenever we cough, sneeze, talk, or simply breathe, we may be exhaling germs. These germs can cause respiratory illnesses when others breathe them in. Our breath also contains carbon dioxide at a concentration 100 times greater than outdoor air. In some cases, CO2 can build up to very high concentrations indoors. This can lead to a loss of focus among the people inside. A high concentration of CO2 indoors often indicates generally poor exchange with outside air. Because of this, we can use CO2 measurements to help determine whether the air inside a building is properly ventilated. Threats to our indoor air quality also come from outside. As air moves from outside to inside a building, the pollutants in the outdoor air come along for the ride. When the air quality outside is good, we can bring that fresh outdoor air inside and improve IAQ. But when the air quality outside is poor, bringing in outside air can cause our IAQ to get worse. Outdoor air quality is poor on some days in many U.S. cities, especially when there are high levels of smoke from wildfires. How can we address these many threats to indoor air quality? While there is no one-size-fits-all solution, there are 3 general strategies that we can consider. We refer to these as the 3 R's: remove the source, reduce the source, and remediate the air. Removing the source is a great option because it means the pollution does not enter the indoor environment in the first place. Removal might look like storing chemicals such as paint cans in a separate building or a dedicated storage area. not using scented products like air fresheners, or requiring a negative COVID-19 test to enter a building. If you can remove a source, do it. But there are certain times when it's not possible to do. After all, people simply breathing can be a source of indoor pollutants. In these cases, reduction is helpful. Reduction might look like choosing building materials, paints, and cleaning products that don't release a lot of chemicals. Often these products are labeled low VOC, which means they don't release many volatile organic compounds, some of which can negatively impact human health. For human germs, we can reduce the amount that get into the air by wearing high-quality, well-fitted masks. When you can't remove a source, and when reduction isn't enough, it's time to turn to remediation, the act of removing pollutants from the air inside a building. There are many ways this can be done. The most common method is through ventilation. Ventilation is when outdoor air is brought inside a building, and the old air that was already in the building is flushed out. Ventilation is most effective at improving IAQ when the outdoor air is clean, in which case the effectiveness is only limited by the ability to bring that air inside. If a room is poorly ventilated, then CO2, airborne germs like COVID-19, and pollutants can start to fill up the room, increasing the risk of health problems and disease transmission. More on this in Part 2 of our video series. There are practical considerations when determining ventilation rates, which are the speed and volume of air coming into a building. Those considerations include the size of the air handling system and the need to heat or cool the outdoor air, which comes with associated energy costs. In California, requirements for minimum building ventilation rates are set by the California Building Energy Efficiency Standards. When the outdoor air quality is poor, we can add another remediation method called filtration. Filtration removes small particles from the air using a filter. Filtration can occur within heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems to clean the air coming into a building from outside. Filtration can also occur as a standalone process inside a room to remove particles from indoor sources. These are typically referred to as air purifiers or portable air cleaners and can be mechanical or electronic. It is important to choose an air cleaning device that does not release ozone into the air, as ozone is also bad for human health. The effectiveness of filtration in improving air quality depends on the amount of air that passes through the filter and the efficiency of the filter in removing particles of a given size. ASHRAE recently released guidance for using ventilation and filtration together to reduce the likelihood of infectious respiratory disease transmission. You can learn a lot more about remediation and other strategies to improve IAQ in Part 3 of our video series. Now you know some basics of indoor air quality, what it is, how it impacts our health and well-being, and how we can go about improving it. In the series of videos that follow, you will learn more detailed information and strategies for keeping our indoor air clean and healthy.